Hello brew tubers, and welcome to the first brew day video of 2019. Also the first brew in my new 50 litre Hopcat system, so it's a very exciting day all around. What am I brewing? I am brewing the 1860 Truman XXX Mild, a big Victorian beer. One of the reasons I brought this 50 litre system, upgraded to 50 litre system, obviously partly to brew larger quantities of beer. I want to be able to sort of brew 40 litres at a time to fill firkins up, and the other is so I can do these beers with these huge grists, these huge grain bills. And when I say huge, this XXX Mild has 2 kilos of mild ale malt and 7 kilos of Maris Otter Pale, so a 9 kilo grist in total. It was supposed to be 50-50, 4.5 mild ale, 4.5 pale Maris Otter, but didn't have enough mild ale malt. So had a few problems to start with in terms of the Hopcat, getting used to it. I don't like the design of the grain basket. I will elaborate further. Yeah, it was an interesting start. The false bottom, unlike in my Bulldog brewer, isn't fixed. It sort of rests on a ledge. And I think when I first used it, I had the grill the wrong way round. It was upside down, which meant that it just sort of fell out. So I then had to use my 3 litre jug, scoop the whole contents out of the Hopcat into the old Bulldog, fix it, obviously put it all the right way around, then put it all back again. So that wasn't a great start. This bloody handle is a load of shit. Why companies, all these like one vessel system companies use these pieces of shit? I do not know. I know Big Banana had the big drop with it. I nearly had one. It's useless. It's useless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bit of threaded metal, threaded bar, run it through, 2 nuts each end, job done. That's the best way about it, I think. So it's fixed. You know, it won't come off. That's the thing to do. Yeah. So just a bit of threaded bar, 2 nuts each end, job done. So that's the first improvement I'm going to make to this. Other than that, I'm fairly happy with how it is. Another thing which has annoyed me is that the drain out bit at the bottom is a different diameter to the Bulldog. So my pump, my Kingdom pump, which I use for the Bulldog, doesn't fit. So I'll need to sort that out. What I might do is just swap them, because I'm going to keep using the Bulldog as my HLT, so I might just swap the taps around and do it that way, just so it's the right diameter. So yes, what I've actually got brewing, I've told you it's the XX Mild. The grist, 2 kilos of mild ale malt, 7 kilos of Maris Otter, and that's been mashing since about 2 o'clock. It's now, well actually no, it's about 1:30 actually. No, it was 1 o'clock. Yes, that's been going on for a very long time. It's now 4:20, so about 3.5 hours. The reason why it's so long is because I'm still getting used to the control panel. It was set at 55 degrees instead of 68, so after an hour I noticed, put the temperature up to 68 I think it was, and then I did a 20-minute mash out at 78 I think it was. Anyway, so that's in there. Sparging at the moment, it's just finishing draining, and then it'll go on for a shit long boil, because I need to reduce the quantity down to about oh, I don't know, 27 litres I suppose. So I need to boil away 20 litres, Then start the first hop addition should be 240 grams of East Kent Goldings. Boil that for an hour, add a proto flop, last 15 minutes, and transfer to a fermenter. I'm going to use 2 packets of SO4, just because it's quite a strong beer, should end up about 9.5%. Yes, so got a long night ahead of me. Just finished the sparge. I shall show you a couple of photos of it mashing, and then there'll be a little bit of video of it sparging, and then yeah, we'll be getting back together for the boil stage. How exciting! Only hop addition at 60 minutes to go. 30 grams of East Kent Goldings, then 100 grams of East Kent Goldings, then another 100 grams of East Kent Goldings, 230 grams of East Kent Goldings. So that should work out at 10 grams of hops per litre, 120 IBUs. Quite ridiculous, but that's how Victorians brewed their beer. Right, 1 hour to go. It's been like boiling for 3 hours already. Oh well. It might be a bit wet in the brew shed. Oh look, there's the box of Hopcat came in. Yes, there's wet things up there. There's a little bit of wet cobweb there, and there's lots of steam, It's wetter than a fish's wet bits in here. Look, it's just dripping everywhere. I had to have a bucket on the floor to catch the drips, because that up there is ridiculous. Ah! Last 10 minutes of the boil, in goes a proto flock tablet. End of the boil. Flame out, I'll get the circulation going and the wort chiller running, and yes, we'll get it transferred to the lovely sanitised fermentation vessel. Hooray! There's the recirculation. Come down here. Can you just see the temperature if you need? Coming down fairly fast initially. So we are transferring it to the fermentation vessel. Some lovely foam for the yeasties. See, it's going down at a fair rate. I think that's going to be fairly oxygenated, don't you? All transferred to the fermentation vessel. Because this was such a high gravity beer, or at least I hope it is, I'm using 2 sachets of SO4. So lucky old yeast and lucky old beer and lucky luck. Perfect. That should hopefully kick off soon. There is a tilt hydrometer in there somewhere, so I'll get a reading from that in a minute. So it is 10:05 at night, and I've finished brew day. Must be like the longest brew day ever. I think I started at something like 11 o'clock this morning, and it's now 10, so you know that's quite a long brew day. 11 hours, if my math is correct, which it is. Efficiency was great. I got 1.105 on the hydrometer. I was expecting 1.092, so it's going to be a bloody strong beer. Quite glad I used 2 packets of SO4. That will certainly bite down on that quite nicely. So yes, they're all transferred. As I said, it's not been the best brew day. The Hopcat, the grain basket is an awful design. and I'm very, very displeased with that side of things. The rest of it's a lovely machine other than that, but the grain basket, first off, the false bottom needs to be welded to the cylinder, because it just, you know, it's when I started mashing it fell through, meaning I had to empty all the grains out into the Bulldog brewer, reattach it and put it all back in. So that was an hour this morning sorting that out. The handle is a useless design. Whoever came up with that idea is daft. So what I'm going to do is get a bit of threaded metal, threaded rod, put it through both holes, nuts on each end. That should be a secure method. And if I can get someone to weld the false bottom onto the bottom, then I'll be a happy boy. But yes, other than that, it was okay. The colour was slightly darker than I expected. I think that's because there's a Maillard reaction. Basically, the sugars have, because it's been boiling for so many hours, I think they slightly crystallise in the Hopcat thing. So it's turned a little bit darker than expected, but it is a mild after all, so that's fine. It's not going to be a pale mild, it's going to be a mild coloured mild. So yes, we'll see. Yeah, should end up a strong old beer, that. Yes, 11-hour brew day though, good God. I'm glad it's over. First brew of 2019, let's hope the rest of them will be better. So what's happening next? I'm having my little birthday party at the end of, well, next week. So I've got my cask full of CSB, which I will tap later. My best bitter is still not very well carbonated, but it will get there. It's tasting amazing. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. Lovely rich red colour, and yeah, it just needs a bit more life in it. So hopefully once that condition's a bit better, we'll have a good beer there. I am looking at it, hence why I'm turning my head so much. Right, so that's that. Beer to be brewed next. I'm tempted to do Peter's beer again, the Pattis beer, which is the Pilsner malt SARS hop smashed with Belgian ale yeast. Very good beer. Or was it wheat malt? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, that's that. First beer brew of 2019 is done. What is keg red barrel? Some of you are interested in that. I have had some of it, but it's very, 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 very murky. Very murky indeed. I don't know whether just to take the top off and add some beer bright finings just to help clear it a bit, but it's yeah, it's not looking good at all at the moment. So oh well. Right, I'm going to leave it there because it is now 10 past 10, and I've had enough. Everything's tidied up, so that's good, and it's all transferred. The yeast is going to be happy, hopefully. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and yes, first one of 2019 done. Let's see what the year brings, eh?